Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. Fruit markets, backends, and app API inside. Today need to see this here the main category inside. We need to develop this here the subcategory. Like this here the selected. This is the fruits is main category. Inside we need to creating subcategory like this here the organic fruit, mixed fruit packs, stone fruits. Like this need to all categories into developing like managing this here the subcategory. We need to making this here the API for the create, update, delete, active, inactive, as well as we need to manage this here the read all the records. We need to list, we need this, we need to cruise operations, need to performs for the subcategory. Now we need to making this API. If you not see here the yesterday video, please first of all the see this yesterday video, because we need to API reuse and to saving this here the over times. That's why I need to copy and paste, need to using this here the entire logics, and to some query need to change here inside the logics. Now need to copy here this all five APIs. First one is the main category add. Second one is the main category updates, main category deletes, main category active, inactives, and main category list. Need to all five APIs you need to copy and we need to paste here. And to developing this here the new API, we need to changing here. We need to first of all the change this here the API names. We need to set this here the category only. We need to set this here the category and managing this here the store management to manage this here the add, update, deletes list, and active, inactives. We need to operations we need to performs for this shop owners apps. We need to managing like this all data. Now first of all we need to set this here the add categories API. We need to develop, we need to need this here the add additional parameters also need to need here. First one, so need to give this here the category name like here. Then after, so need to select it which we need to need this here the parents main category ID also need to need, because need to bind with here the which category for the belong to this category. Need to normalize, so need to setting means need to copy this here the these column names. Need to main category ID need to pass here. Also need to configure this here the subtitles here. Need to open this here the XD files and to explain here and to show like this here the pickup from the organic farms. Here the fruit mix, fresh packs like this. You need to getting like this here the subtitles. You need to also need to manage this here and to save inside here the subtitles. Need to set like this here. Then after we need to managing this here the select query. Now we need to change this here the array category inside. We need to change this here the tables. First of all, we need to set this here the change main category to category details tables, and we need to set this here the cat names. Also need to like this provide this here and also set here, and we need to give this here the getting this here the category ID. Also need to bind here category IDs, like we need to configurations are the needs here, and we need to set this here. So also need to manage this here the state, need to handling this here. Now also need to set this like here the cat names, and conditions need to also apply for these conditions. Need to write down here the main category ID. Also need to compare with here conditions we need to checks, and we need to put this here the request object dot main category ID. Also need to pass this here. Now we need to insert inside. We need to manage this here the insert data. For the we need to write down here the changes here the tables category details like here. Then after we need to set this here the category name. Then after we need to manage this here the another's get ID. Also need to provide here for these columns, and then and last ones need to give this here the subtitles. This parameter need to pass years. Now need to add this here the two question marks, because need to two parameters need to add this years. Again, so need to set this here this value, and also need to set here the main category ID, and one more subtitles parameter like here. And also need to manage this here the another tabs need to put here. Need to write down here the parts class RNT, and we need to give this here the request object dot main category ID. Need to give this here, and this one is the category ID for the insert. Then we need to no needs here the main category, only give this here the get names. Need to provide like here, and also need to send this here the subtitles for this parameters. Already strings, that's why I need to no need to change this here the subtitles, and to give this here the category edit successfully, need to return this here the message. And we need to, this is the done for the add category API, we need to done here. Same as now need to call this here the update categories, we need to provide this here. We need to pass this here the cat ID like here, and we need to set this here the cat name for the updates, so need to configure this here. Also need to change this here for this API, and tables also need to change for the categories. And we need to modify this here the cat ID like here's, and also need to like here's and get name, and we need to category update it. We need to for the updating this category, and now we need to save this here. So also need to manage this here the subtitles, we need to change, we need to add this here subtitle, and also need to add this parameter, write down here the subtitle, and set here the question mark, and to pass this here request object dot, we need to call this here the subtitles, like we need to passing for this here the update categories, we need to call here. Now same as we need to calling this here the delete categories, we need to use this here the category details tables here, and we need to pass this here the cat ID like here. Maybe make sure, so need to not any, okay, done. Then after here also remove here, and cat ID here also need to set here cat ID, and need to remove here the main, and we need to save this here. And now category deletes API also need to done here for this API, need to close this here. Active inactives, we need to manage this here, so need to remove this here the, need to set here category detail table like here, and we need to remove this here main cat, and also we need to set this here cat ID. Also need to make sure for this parameter done here, and category active successfully like this, managing this here message, and we need to save this here. Now these active and inactive categories API are the done and managing this here. Now need to category list API, we need to put here. First of all, so need to call this here the another query, we need to run here. We need to set here the parameters for the filter specific category list, we need to insert get this all the list, we need to needs here, need to write down here the db query, not db query, we need to call this here the helper dot dlogs, not dlogs, we need to call this here the check parameter valid, need to pass this here the response object, session objects, and then after need to check this here the which keys need to require these parameters, need to pass this here the main get id, need to need these parameters, and this is required parameters. If here the valids, then we need to call this like here the API inside the parts, and now we need to call here the select query, need to fire here, we need to go here, open this here the database, and we need to write down here the SQL select details and select query, and we need to remove this here the created dates and modify dates no needs, we need to clean this here, and we need to cut this query, and we need to paste here for the select write down here like here, and we need to remove here where, like we need to setting this here for the this query, and also need to write down here the where conditions, also need to put add main category get id question marks and conditions, and now we need to pass this here this value, request object, and you need to pass this here the main get id and save this here. And this API are the done for the category list. Need to get specific category main category to get here the all subcategory list need to get in here. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.